Kevin Hart has a huge hit on TV plus a big movie headed to theaters, but he's also in the midst of a controversy.
They want to make something out of nothing.
She's an entertainment icon who's never been shy or afraid to be her own person, and that didn't stop during our interview.
You're always black. I've always been black, and I always knew it.
And he's overcome abuse, addiction, and homelessness and become one of the favorite voices of a generation.
Have you been able to forgive those that abused you?
You'll hear from them like never before. Up next on Conversations.
Welcome, thanks for joining us. We've got a blockbuster for you. Later, comedian Kevin Hart. He's the hottest thing in show business right now. Of course he'll be funny. Wait until you hear his story about selling shoes. But you'll also see a very serious side to this funny man. And speaking of funny, we have Whoopi Goldberg. And as always, she doesn't bite her tongue, even when she's challenging Black America. But first, a singing superstar goes back to a place where he found purpose, and along the way, he gave the world some great music.
Grammy nominations, gold albums, millions of loyal fans, and critical acclaim. Singer Kim has arrived.
There's a light shining on you.
His story starts out not unlike many want-to-be singers. He had a day job as a waiter at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, and he'd sing in the evenings and on weekends at small clubs, parties, and yes, at weddings.
Wedding singer, yeah, I was a wedding singer. I was in a top 40 band called Persuasion. You know, I always tell people about the music industry that I grew up musically working with real musicians, cats that you'll never see on the cover of Rolling Stone or Billboard, you know, but they work the weddings, they work the casinos, they work the bar mitzvahs, you know, the corporate parties, and I learned how to perform there.
And the singer learned his craft well, but felt he had a bigger calling. But the breaks weren't coming. After years chasing record deals and trying to make a name in the music industry, he told himself this time it was all or nothing.
It was a very transformative period of my life to, you know, walk into my job at the Ritz-Carlton where I was waiting tables and to tell them that I would not be coming back because I was going to go make a record, you know, which was going to be financed on an American Express credit card.
Were you scared?
Absolutely. You know, courage is not the absence of fear. You know, courage is sometimes being able to move forward in spite of the fear that you feel. So, yeah, it was terrifying and thrilling and exhilarating at the same time. The worst thing that could happen would be that I would fail and I would have the largest credit card bill in America that I would spend the next 35 years paying off.
But it wouldn't take 35 years. That album, Chemistry, struck gold, and fans began their love affair with Kim.
Love calls your name.
Kim's journey has been an amazing ride, but his successful career is not the most impressive aspect of the singer's life. Overcoming personal demons was a bigger leap than to the top of the charts. Kim Owens was raised in Detroit and lived with his mother and stepfather who moved from Tennessee.
I had good times as a kid. You know, I had good times as a kid. My childhood was, you know, it was in many ways, it was, you know, it was typical.
His youthful years may have been typical, but they were not by any means trouble-free.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is something that runs throughout my family, which is one aspect. And you know, growing up, I was filled with a lot of fear, childhood anxiety, depression. I didn't have any coping skills. You know, that's the short and skinny of it. You know, I didn't have any coping skills, and drugs and alcohol were my first. Though that's how I learned how to deal with things, was to get high, and to escape myself. at my core, I'm an escape artist. You know, when I feel good, I want to feel better. You know, and you know, we try to get away from any unpleasantness.
And is that core still living with you today?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I want to get up and run out of this.
But the Detroiter couldn't run far enough from his addictive personality. So caught up on drugs, Kim would find himself addicted, estranged from his family, and for a short time, without a place to sleep.
I was sleeping on the Detroit River. I was sleeping on the banks of the Detroit River. The last day that I took a drink or drug was July 23rd of 1990. And I was sleeping back there waiting to get a room because I had been discharged. I was waiting to be readmitted into the program.
And it was at the Detroit Salvation Army and other treatment programs that Kim found sobriety and his purpose. We conducted the interview here because of that, and you could feel the impact it still has on him when he entered one of the residents' rooms.
You know what hit me when you came in? First thing you said was, wow.
Yeah.
It brings it back to you?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been over 20 years since I've been in one of the rooms. Yeah, I mean, it really smacked me right in the face. Yeah.
Was it a sense of remembering the time? Was it despair at that time? What was it that came back?
I don't know, just all of it, everything, man. It's like it was yesterday that I was here. You know, it smells the same, you know, and what it represents, and what each one of these bunks represents is a brother trying to get his life together.
Would you go as far to say that music saved your life?
Wow.
In order to get his life together, the singer would also have to overcome one other hurdle before he could fully heal. He was a victim of child abuse. While he declines to say who committed the abuse, he does deal with it head on.
I've talked about being, you know, emotionally and sexually abused as a child. You know what? I wouldn't go back and change anything, man. Those things came together in my life, and they shaped me. You know, they have given me a perspective that you know, that is unique to me, you know, and allow me to see things and be effective in ways that, had I not had those experiences, I wouldn't be able to do. They feed the music. The music comes from these places, you know what I mean? And so it's all, you know, it's all connected.
Have you been able to forgive those that abused you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Was the trauma the catalyst for the inability to cope, for the addiction, for the withdrawal?
Absolutely. It's definitely a contributing factor.
I can't stop loving you, girl.
And the contributing factor for Kim's recovery from all of this is music.
Can't stop loving you, babe, and I don't know why.
It's one of my favorite songs.
Beyond faith and other factors, but would you go as far to say that music saved your life?
Wow. In a sense, that would be the truth. Yeah. In the darkest periods of my life, music was a light for me. You know, it was a focal point. It was someplace to get to, You know, it was something to reach for, something to live for. Because I had not connected with my faith really. My faith had me, but I didn't have it. So you know, music pulled me through.
If you could change what you lived before and not have the ministry, you would have had a clean life from addiction, but not been given this ministry, this platform. Would you change it?
I would not change it. I wouldn't go back and change that.
Why?
I know that the difficulties that we have in our lives, they shape who we are right now. You know, you and I wouldn't be having this conversation had those things not happened. You know, the lives that I've been able to affect through my music or through this, you know, this ministry is, you know, would not have been affected.
Perhaps what the singer is most proud of is the ministry that his overcoming adversity has afforded him. He believes it's his duty to give back. From annual free concerts that benefit the homeless to providing free holiday haircuts for some elementary school students, the singer says he must give back.
And I can't stop loving you.
All of what the man has gone through and his blessings are translated to his music, and his fans feel it with every song and every performance. He knows that every aspect of his life has brought him to this point and gives gravity to his songs. He knows that his music touches people.
The reception that my music is given by people is what I hoped that it would be. You know, I did not want to, I don't want to create music that just entertains people. You know, I want to be part of the soundtrack of your life. To me, what that means is that this music will be remembered. You know, that it was not just a passing fancy. But there are those times when it connects, and you can't make it, you can't do anything wrong, and you're like, I guess that's what they call the zone, you know, when you're there, and it's heaven, you know, it's heaven.
And are those the nights that it's validation for taking that Amex to its limit?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
My thanks to Kim. He tells me he's going back in the studio, so look for some great music very soon. All right, later in the program, Kevin Hart. But up next, Whoopi Goldberg.
I met Whoopi Goldberg in Midtown Manhattan at B. Smith's restaurant. She joined me there immediately after a taping of The View, the popular daily gabfest she's been co-hosting since 2007. We stopped to look at her picture that hangs on the eatery's wall of fame, and then sat for our interview. One thing you better remember while interviewing Ms. Goldberg: she will jump at an opportunity to be funny, even during your conversation. Like when we heard a noise from the kitchen.
That may or may not happen. Oops, that was my last egg falling. I am now officially in menopause.
But her antics shouldn't surprise anyone. This funny lady's career is one of the most versatile and successful in entertainment history. She came to the nation's attention on Broadway in 1985 when famed director Mike Nichols brought her one-woman show to Broadway. Critics were captivated, and America was curious. Everybody was talking about Whoopi Goldberg. She'd grown up as Karen Johnson, always dreaming of show business. She recalled a conversation her mother had with her when things were taking off.
We read my first Times review by a gentleman called Mel Gussow, and we sat at the table at 288 10th Avenue, 6D was our apartment, and we read the review that changed my life. And she said, "Okay, Karen, this is the last time you will ever be able to walk down the street like this again." And
she was right.
She was right.
But even her mother couldn't have imagined what that career and that fame would become. For over 3 decades, she's done movies and television, hosting the Academy Awards. She even won an Oscar. Goldberg is a mega star with legs.
How do you see yourself? Because this, as I said, is a business that, as you know, chews them up,
Yep.
spits them out.
Well, you know, I'm kind of like, you've seen a cow chew, right? And then it spits out the cud. Well, the cud goes back into the ground and comes up as grass. That's me. I'm the cow cud. Not the pie, but the cud.
You've had an amazing career. I mean, I think sometimes...
I'm not dead.
No, you're not.
Have.
But I use past tense in the sense of, obviously, you're still in it.
Yeah.
But I use past tense in the sense that I think, and I'll admit to having forgotten some of the things.
You think you forgot.
That you've done.
Yeah.
It's tremendous.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself, all modesty aside, as iconic?
No.
Come on.
No. Sidney Poitier,
Really?
yeah. Sidney Poitier, that's an icon. That's an icon. Joan Rivers, that's an icon. Whoopi Goldberg, maybe when I'm 70 I might be iconic, but not at 57. Hell no.
But you're scratching that door. Will you give me that much? I mean, you've done so much.
Well, I see the door.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see the door. Now, whether I go through it or not,
What would
who
that
knows?
take in your mind?
What? To go
Going
through
through it,
the...
yeah.
I don't know. Because I don't think of myself that way, so I have no idea what's upcoming. But since you wanted me to see it, I looked forward and I saw a little door that big said icon, and I thought that was the one.
You've been very open, done a lot of interviews, talked about so many things. Yet there's a part of me that feels like, for as much as we know about Whoopi Goldberg, we know very little about
That's
Whoopi
right.
Goldberg. Is that true?
Yes. Yes.
And is that keeping Karen separate? I mean, how do you...
No, it's just that, you know, it's nobody's business. I've told as much of the bad stuff as before anybody else could tell it, because I want to tell it right, you know. Because if you're going to embellish, I'd rather do it so it looks good, you know, and when you read it 10 years later, say, wow, that's a damn good story. But there are some things that should not be known. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
And are you fierce when people try to dig into it?
No, because you can't find it. Because if they could have, they would have. But you can't find it, because it's not anywhere. It's not anywhere. And I made sure that it wasn't anywhere. So, you know.
The comic is loved by middle America now, but when she started, her look was something many people couldn't get past, and that included Black America. She was a black woman with a Jewish name whose comedy was different. She dated white men, and the look, well, people just weren't sure.
It seems to me there have been ups and downs, blips and peaks and valleys, if you will, with Black America. Sometimes they have loved Whoopi Goldberg. Certainly sometimes they've misunderstood her.
No, let's say what it is. Sometimes they didn't like me. That's okay.
Yeah.
Life's tough.
How much of that do you buy that that's just kind of what life is in terms of being a public figure? Because people want to embrace you. And
Not all the time.
Don't you think though in the beginning they want to embrace you and then they want to tear you down?
No. I think this is what happens, particularly with us. We see something and we want to see if it's going to last, first of all, especially if it looks like this and it has some weird ass name that, you know, people say, where did you get what? Why are you, you know?
Because in the beginning they said, well, you didn't want to be black. That's why you adopted that name.
And here's the deal. It's not like, and I'm sure most people recognize this now, it's not like you wake up and you're Italian and then you turn black, you're always black. I've always been black, and I always knew it. But that has not stopped me from doing anything. Nothing. I love who I want to love. I don't like who I don't want to like, and I don't care how hot or hip or what everybody else is telling me. If you roll with me and I like you, we're good. You have an issue with me, you better be prepared to explain it to me. You didn't like something that went down? Okay. But I'm not gonna mea culpa. I'm not gonna, you know, because look, you can't get rid of me. I am black. Tough. People didn't want me to be the representation of the black woman. They didn't want it.
You were ahead of the curve. You always talk about your look. Yet when you first hit, a lot of people, and a lot of black people thought, what the hell is going on? Yet now, you look like...
No. They all look like.
Yes.
Yes.
So do you see yourself as ahead of the curve? Did you see yourself ahead of the curve, or you were just being Whoopi?
I was just doing me. And, you know, people always have something to say. Always, you know. I say that's okay, as long as you're doing something. But most people are just saying. They just want you to know they don't like the way you look. I say, okay. What do you want me to do? I'm not changing.
Goldberg's always been in your face and blunt. Over the years, she has offended some, but she suggests that people need to worry less about edgy comedy and focus on real issues.
Everything seems to be bothering us, you know, except the stuff that should really be bothering us, the stuff we should be actually out there going, you know what? Let me take care of my personal life. But you want to do for the community? Let's talk about what the community needs. So let's first get right with who we are. We're Americans, and this isn't working for us. That's how it needs to come down. This separation of them, that's not working for us. It has never worked for us. People, you know, it's old thought. That's how they used to treat us. Y'all are over there. No, we're all here, you know. We're all here in this together.
While Goldberg's attitude hasn't changed.
And I just want to say, the minute I stop talking, we're all in trouble.
That is true.
She had to constantly reinvent herself over the 30 years in show business. Her latest incarnation is documentary producer. She is working on 2 films. One is a profile of C. Vivian Stringer, the Hall of Fame women's basketball coach, and the other, a salute to Moms Mabley, who was a trailblazing black comic who paved the way for Goldberg and others.
For a good 40 years, she was the only female stand-up comic in the nation. She's the only one. You know, no one comes out really until the 50s, where you start to see Joan Rivers and different kinds of folks. But, you know, Moms was unlike anyone else. And I wanted to first talk, you know, make a documentary, but I had all these big ideas. And then I discovered the really tragic thing, which is there is very little on Moms or on any of our black performers because no one thought it was important to document them. And so what this piece is about is her impact on comedy, because she was the first cougar. You know, ain't nothing an old man could do for me except bring me a message from a young man, you know. So, you know, she's the first. She was one of the first to talk about race relations and how to deal with ageism and all of the racism. And so I'm very, very, very proud of it.
Do you strive? Is there anything you haven't done yet that you really want to do that would help complete?
Yeah. I would like to be an ambassador, a United States ambassador.
Really?
Yeah. A couple of different countries. Because I want America to be seen better. And I don't know how many ambassadors of color we actually have. So I figure, why not? because I'm the best and the craziest that America has to offer. You know, I have a love of this country that is, at times, allows me to forgive her her foibles, because I know she's a baby compared to France or to Czechoslovakia or even Africa. We are children.
Give me a sense of what you want your contribution at the end of the day to be. You know, you seem to be one of those people, at least outwardly, as I look, that I would believe you want to put a stamp on this world, that the impression of Whoopi Goldberg remains at some way, shape, or form.
Well, I don't know. I used to think that I wanted to do that, but people didn't want me to be the representation of the black woman. They didn't want it. You know, I somehow didn't serve some kind of purpose. But what I have is longevity, which trumps everything else. I never promised I was going to be hot looking, but you can't deny I've been around, you know, and all kind of men. Just saying, you know. So I've never been anything that people thought I was. And so maybe my contribution to the world is that you cannot judge, that you actually have to do a one-on-one to know somebody. That's what I'd like to leave for the world.
You gotta love her candor. Our thanks to Ms. Goldberg for sitting with us, and look for her documentaries coming out soon. All right, when we return, funny man Kevin Hart. He'll take on that color controversy.
There's no one hotter in show business right now than Kevin Hart. He's gone from stand-up comedian to movie and television star, with a huge hit on the small screen and a big movie on deck, a film of his latest stand-up tour that will hit theaters on July 3rd. No one is in more demand. He's also becoming a mogul. His company, Heartbeat Productions, oversees all things Kevin Hart. His office in sunny California is where we met. The walls are adorned with reminders of his success. The office is a long way from where the comedian started, in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. We sat at a conference table for our interview, and I asked the funny man about growing up in Philly.
I could have been a street kid, put it this way. I could have been a street kid, but my position that my mom put me in Philadelphia, forced me to do other things.
Which was what?
Which was prioritize, which was, I guess you could say, develop a certain mindset of achievement, rather. You know, I had the choice to either sit on the steps with my friends and talk for 6 hours and shoot dice and gamble and sell drugs, or I could partake in the extracurricular activities that she made available for me.
Hart's mother, Nancy, would provide structure for Kevin and his older brother, Robert, who she would raise, for the most part, on her own.
You are a hard worker. Where'd the work ethic come from?
From my mom. From my mom. Raised in a single-parent household. My mom was very independent. You know, her and my dad at the time weren't getting along, weren't close. So my mom took it upon herself to not ask and not want from my dad, and when he gave, he gave. When he came around, but she made everything available. Now, being that my dad is my dad as a kid, you love your dad, regardless of what he's going through. So I didn't know what was good or bad. You know, all I knew was that was my dad, this was my mom. But I definitely have a certain level of respect for my mom, from understanding what she did and how she did it, and how she made things available for us without really having. That was huge.
You've been really candid about your family, and you talked about your father's addiction and him not being around.
My dad was on drugs. I have no problem with being honest. It's the truth. Now, when I say drugs, people, I'm not talking about the soft stuff. I'm talking about cocaine. That's right.
How much did you have to deal with that in terms of anger? Were you angry with him?
No.
Never?
It's my dad. You know, you can't judge a person for what you know is a mistake that's that's hard to control.
Did you know that as a child?
No, you don't know it as a child. You just know your dad's not around for whatever reasons. But when your dad comes around, is he a good dad? I got great memories of my dad. Fishing, crabbing, from snow and snowmen, and taking me to school, sometimes taking me to the wrong school. You know, you make the best out of what you can within me in the way that I am and the way that my machine, being my brain, is particularly built. I find a positive in any negative. I've always been like that.
When you decided to get into comedy, you and I have talked about this before, you were always a funny cat. But what made you decide that this was going to be your profession?
I didn't really have too many choices, Ed. I wish I could sit here and lie to you and act like I had a plate full of eggs in a basket that were ready to go in different baskets. It wasn't a lot. I wasn't a great student. Not to promote, you know, that being a awful student is great, because it's not. I didn't succeed in school to the point where it's like, oh my God, my academic accomplishments are crazy. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then one day, I don't know, like somebody hit me in the head with a rock. I was like, yo, I want to be in entertainment. That's what I want to do. I didn't know how to do it though, but that's what I wanted to do. And then I got lucky. Somebody told me where to go to do comedy. I was like, but that's what I kind of want to do. They said, just go here. They got amateur nights. I was like, I'm going to do it. I did it.
How difficult was it in the early days? You, like every other comic, at points bombed, you get booed. Did you ever face a time where you thought, this ain't working?
No. I never felt like I want to do something else or I need to find another professional career. I was excited at the fact that I found something that I was in love with that I wanted to do and make a career out of. I want that life.
Though he knew he wanted that life, like most entertainers, Hart would have other jobs prior to hitting the stage. Like fellow comedian Jamie Foxx, Kevin sold shoes at one time.
You were a shoe salesman.
One of the best.
Jamie Foxx was a shoe salesman. Told me he was one of the best.
So much better than him. Go ahead. So much better than Jamie.
He gave me his tricks about how he would sell a woman's shoe. He'd say, size 9, and know she was a size 12. What were some of your tricks?
Well, first of all, Jamie's trick stinks. That's the first thing, okay? The reason why I would say it's size 9 is because basically what you do is you throw out the most generic size possible. That's a flirt move. I'm more of a statistic guy, okay? I know everything there is to know about a sneaker, and I broke this down several times, you know? I'm more of a guy that deals with facts. I want to help you walk better or run better. Okay, and I would look at you. What are you, a walker or runner? You would say, man, I'm just looking for something for comfort. Well, what kind of comfort do you want? Are you pronating? Are you supinating? You probably don't even know what that is, Ed. That's if your foot is rolling inward or outward. Okay, do you need heel support or arch support? You know what I'm gonna offer you? I'm gonna get your arches better. This particular sneaker right here has something called polyurethane. You know what polyurethane is? That's a hard sole with a soft middle. You don't even know this stuff, man. Condensed EVA, crushed EVA. I can keep on going, man. Air Max, Hexalite, Diamond Cell. I know all this stuff. I can go sell a sneaker right now if I wanted to.
You're about
to work for Nike.
I'm ready to buy, baby. I'm ready to buy.
In spite of his impressive knowledge of shoes, it was clear that laces and heels weren't Kevin's future. His passion was making people laugh. He began to make the rounds on the comedy club circuit, doing stand-up. And though he's a star now, he wants people to know it was the work ethic his mother taught him that kept him going when he and the times weren't as funny.
People look at it and say, oh my God, Kevin Hart, look at it, out of nowhere, he just came. I got 16 years in. 16 years in 13 and a half of those 16 years were rejection. You know, I was performing in colleges at 12 noon while the kids were eating lunch. You know, I was driving 9 hours to go make $250. Nobody knows and understands that road. So you see here, and it gets to the $1 million numbers and, oh, he's making that money. I don't care, because I have a road that I appreciate of how I got here.
But you know, we're very sensitive when it comes to color.
Sensitive.
They're going to say, too sensitive.
Too sensitive.
Kevin Hart is on top now, and he's traveling in style.
I got it.
His latest concert tour, Let Me Explain, is said to have grossed more than $30 million. Those numbers put Hart in rare company.
I'm not even sure the exact number, but it's close to like 40 million. It was disgusting. It's crazy. The tour numbers were disgusting. I laughed.
Did you go home one day and just close the door and?
I'm a humble dude, so I don't get a big head.
I appreciate that, man, but you had to be knocked out at the time.
I laugh. I just started laughing. I'm like, this is crazy. But if you look at it, you go, yeah, I'm the shit. then you start to lose your mind. But if you look at it, you just laugh, and you appreciate it, and you really look at it from the outside. Just go, man, this is amazing.
But Hart's road has not been without bumps. Recently, he was arrested and jailed for drunk driving. And though Hart says there are a couple of things he won't joke about, rape and homosexuality, some say that he should add one other to that list, skin color. Recently, the comedian took heat, tweeting that light-skinned women have better credit than dark women. It was clearly a joke, but some didn't find it funny.
You faced something recently where you talked about us, and you took a little heat for it. Give me a sense of how that hit you and whether it surprised you.
I don't, when you use the word hit, nothing hit me. Here's what I've learned.
You understand what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying, but here's what I've learned. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has an opinion. And some people get paid to express their opinion in positive lights. Some people get paid to express it in a negative light. At the end of the day, those people have a job to do. So when I made a comment about dark-skinned women via Twitter, and they went on a rant, oh my goodness, Kevin Hart.
And it was clearly a joke, we should say.
Clearly a joke. Kevin Hart hates dark-skinned women. Oh, Kevin Hart doesn't like dark-skinned women. And my girlfriend is black and Chinese, so then they made something out of that. That's why he left his beautiful black wife to go be with this Chinese black woman, because he doesn't like dark-skinned women. Oh, how could he? Kevin, you want to address it? No. Kevin, what's your rebuttal? I don't have one. I'm a comedian. I was joking. It was harmless. My daughter's dark. What do you people expect? Like they want to make something out of nothing. So if you give people ammunition, which is a reply, which is a constant excuse or a constant apology, you're setting yourself up for more comments.
But we're very sensitive when it comes to color.
Sensitive.
They're going to say, too sensitive.
Too sensitive.
Because they're going to say, well, you drew a line at homosexuality. Why didn't you draw a line at us?
Here's why I draw a line at homosexuality. Homosexuality right now is in a place where it's not a joke to them. And I don't even like to use the word them, okay? The words and terms that were used at a certain point in time are considered slander, are considered violent terms due to the fact of all of the hate crimes that have been had and all of the verbal attack that people have had, whether it be in school, whether it be in a work environment. It's blown up to a bigger thing. So I personally don't think it's funny. I don't joke about it. I don't want that problem. I don't need any enemies at all. And I've seen comedians that have said things, and I've seen them
It can
laugh.
stop a career.
Oh,
Let's be honest.
What? Stop a career? That's an understatement. It can throw you under the bus, man. You'll be in that line, that check cashing line. You don't want that problem. I don't want any problems, man. I understand it and I agree with it, and I definitely I get why it is now a serious thing. So I don't mess with it.
Hart seems to have few enemies right now. His show, Real Husbands of Hollywood, is the #1 program on cable.
Look, last man standing wins. All right?
I got short money, man. I need this one. Who's first?
Me.
It's a takeoff on reality television and spoofs the popular genre. I asked if he believed the show would be this popular.
I didn't think that it was going to be that crazy. It was something I was just going to be a producer on and pop up in a couple episodes. But once we got to doing it and writing it, I was like, this is funny. Like, it's really funny. Then we got the cast members that we got to be involved, and everybody went in saying, yo, we could really have one of like the hottest shows on TV. Like, there's nothing like it on TV. And you look up, we had the #1 show on cable.
And he's red hot on the big screen now. His stand-up movie hits this summer. And other movies are in the works with the likes of Ice Cube and Stallone and De Niro. So with all of this, the comedian must be trying to line himself up with the greats.
So you wanted to be in line when they started saying Pryor, Cosby, Murphy. You wanted Hart to be in there.
That's why else would you do it? I don't understand how people do things and they do it just to get by a little bit. You know, I think in anything you do, if you don't have the attitude of being the best or wanting to be one of the best, you shouldn't be doing it.
People, when looking back at the greats, say Cosby is this, Pryor is this, Murphy is this. Fill it out. Hart is what?
I want to say that Hart is a student of comedy. That's the best way to sum me up. I stay in my place and I understand my lane, and I would never disrespect any of those guys that you just mentioned, from Cosby to Rock to Murphy to Pryor to, you know, Tucker, the Kings, you know, Seinfeld, George Carlin. There's a list of great comedians. I understand that right now I'm in a position to do the things that I'm doing because of the platform that these guys have laid out. So regardless of what I accomplish, regardless of the financial figures that I get to, I am a student of comedy. And all I want to be is in a conversation when people talk about who we felt like some of the funniest guys in the world were. When I'm going, as long as my name is in there, I don't care if it's dead last. As long as I'm in there, that means that people understood my work ethic and understood that I love to do what it is that I'm doing now. Making people laugh, that's it.
Have you ever seen a woman go from frantic to calm, like real fast? Let me explain. I can't believe you hurting me, but it's gonna be the last time.
That does it for us. Thanks for joining us. We're already preparing our second special. So until then, I'm Ed Gordon. I'll see you soon.
So to you, Joey, I'm gonna need you to finish up pages 9 through 67.
That's the whole script.
Well, that means I don't feel like working. They not gonna keep none of the stuff you saying. They just wanna show you in here, and it looks like you talking.
Well, I can know that.
Yeah. Thank you, Joey. I'll see you later. If you guys can pan down, Joey might not have on shoes. And he's barefoot. I'll tell you.